Hello people, it's been so long, like forever since I recorded a video. This got dusty. I even forgot how to use my camera for a second. But anyway, I'm back, I'm here, and I'm so excited to start doing projects again with you guys. So let's just get started and tell you what I'm doing now. What I'm going to do for this video. So I finally got my dream machines. Well, I got two of them, but we'll worry about the other one later. But one of them is a spray paint machine. I wanted to get one of those for a long time. And so I decided to, well, before I even use it, I just decided to test it out, see how it works and stuff like that. There we go. So I decided to test out how it looks and how it works and just test it out, right? And so now I want to test out further and see, because this is my first time using it, what can go over this, okay? So we're going to be using acrylic markers. We're going to be using wash. Ooh. We're going to be using watercolor based markers and watercolor based inks. We're going to be using acrylic inks. Ooh, it's so hard to get from. Acrylic inks. Even also going to be using alcohol markers. So I don't think this is going to show up on through, but it's going to be experiment with me fun. Let's try it out. But first things first, I need a picture, and I have been working on this illustration for a while, and this is it. So I want to print this. I'm going to transfer it onto this page, and then we're going to get started. Okay, as you can see, this is what I could transfer on. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but this is how the original looked. And this is how I was able to, much as I was able to transfer. I wanted to transfer some of the flowers, but you can't really see it clearly. I mean, you can see right here a bit, and here a little bit, but it gets so confusing. So I'm just going to concentrate on doing the body and the butterflies, and that's it. So we're going to start with some acrylic markers, some watercolor-based markers, and some gouache, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we are starting. Since this, I'm not doing the whole thing, and I'm thinking I'm going to do the flowers digital time. The other one is just fine, and when you wipe it off, it comes off. It doesn't harm the marker. You can still use it, which is really weird. I didn't expect to see that, but as you can see, it shows just fine. I also want to get water and tea because I want to test it as also water soluble. And then moving on, I just finished through the markers with watercolor markers, this particular butterfly, and of course I add water to it later. Okay, hopefully using the right mic this time, but as I was saying, I also switched off. I've been thinking I'm using the watercolor again. Yeah, I'm just using the markers to color all the center part of butterflies, you know, the main body and the wings. Anyway, and then also, as I said, I've been thinking of how I want to move forward using, well, for this channel moving forward. I'm just going to say it. If you could buy a new laptop, buy a new laptop. I'm using an old laptop to record this video, and it's giving me problems because it keeps shutting down. I don't know what's going on, why it's stopping. I had this problem with my previous ones. I don't even know this one lasts long. I just don't think this computer can handle too much things going on at the same time. But let's go back to this. As I was saying, how I've been thinking, I'm using right now acrylic inks. Again, this one I think shows the best compared to the rest of them. I'm also switched to gouache. It doesn't show as bad, but you have to be very opaque with this. But I don't really. As I was saying, the gouache didn't show as bad. Definitely had to be more opaque, but of the one that shows the best, it would be the acrylic markers, then the gouache, and then the not alcohol, but we call it water-based markers. So here I'm just decided to go with mixed. The amount of times I have to stop and restart this recording. Anyway, I'm moving on and doing mixed media, where I'm blending the combination of acrylic markers, water-based markers, and gouache, and it works well. Again, as I said, I just think I should have just stuck with the acrylic markers because I showed this video and I don't think I'll be able to make it to the end. But as I said, acrylic shows the best. The acrylic markers. Okay, so I'm going to try these, and then I think that'll be in the experiment, and then I'll finish the last 3 butterflies. But I'm just going to do mixed media. So while I finish making this marker, please do not shut down on me. I just want to take a little bit of time explaining what I plan to do with the channel from going forward, because for those who've been here longest, hi, welcome. I've been doing random challenges, open unboxing. I'm still most likely gonna do that, and other random illustrations that feels my fancy, whatever I feel like drawing. But I've been really into working on these projects, creating this graphic novels and stories and characters and world building, and so for now on, that's what I'm going to concentrate on. Now I could do his body in any other medium, like ink, well, any of the inks, but it'll take a long time to do that. So instead, I'm going to color his body in marker, and then I should get the other one pink, a blush. There you go. I'm going to color his body in marker because he has a lot of flesh showing, and then all his histories and hairs and so on and so forth will be done in inks, any of the inks, watercolor ink or acrylic ink. I'm going to increase the speed by so much because I have a problem recording audio, and so yeah, but as you can see, you don't really see it yet because I'm coloring mostly a circle. Most of the body was within the circle, but the little parts that's outside the body, you'll see eventually at the end of this recording that it shows pretty much fine. I usually don't use marker on this book either because it seeps through, but compared to other mediums. Okay, as you can see, I did most of the drawing of the ink, the color, the skin, and even over the black parts, you can still see, more or less, you can make out the marker. So the marker could definitely go over it. So so far, most of the mediums that I use, which is marker, acrylic ink, and even, well, definitely alcohol markers I use out too. The only last thing to test would be the inks, both the watercolor inks and alcohol inks, and for that I'm going to plan to do like the hair and the clothes in that medium. So for now I'm just going to finish up the skin. As I said, he has a lot of skin, and as I hope and originally hoped to do when I started this, that I finish this the rest of the day. And by the way, this is the second day. This is the next following day. I could not finish because I had to go out somewhere. As I said, I was getting dressed, so I got dressed to go out, and then when I came back, it was really, really late, and also I got stuck in the, you know what they call it, the social media wormhole, rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it. I went down that route, so that's very blotchy. But don't worry, I want to do it later, so it will disappear, kind of, more or less. I do use marker the most, honestly, including acrylic markers. I also want to quickly mention that the markers I originally was planning to use for this part was actually a Copics and stuff like that, and my Uhuhu, but I feel like just for the skin itself, I don't feel like I need to take out a whole bunch of markers and look through them. I have my cheap markers right here on my desk, and they work just as fine. This is not that serious. Oh, granted, I do plan to use this for my, what do you call it again? Cover art for my journals. Spoilers, it doesn't come out great. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. But what came out of it was interesting, I'll say. I liked it enough that I decided to keep going forward with it. This is how I guess it's the best way to put it politely, and this is me saving my own, what do you call it again? Feelings. So I don't know if it's because of me, possibly because of me, or because of the paper, because I usually don't do ink on this paper. I don't use ink at all on this paper. Honestly, it's hard to do watercolor on this paper anyway, or gouache. It's probably both. But I'm going to have to do, when I put it digitally, I have to do some more looking with the colors, because it is either blending too much or not enough. I'm not getting enough contrast, so yeah. that's not great, but I'm trying to show right here. You can see a little bit overlapping. So yeah, it does go with ink, if depending on the paper. But yeah, right now I just don't really like how this is turning out right now. Is when a crash out happens. I had so much trouble controlling the inks and the flow of the water and pigment. I pretty much feel like giving up. I originally was going to fix it digitally. That was the plan. What happened was that the whole thing was a little bit off, like the whole outline. So when I was trying to outline it, it was like terrible, and I had to reconfigure it every time I want to outline a certain portion, like the arms or legs or whatever. Like even the feet itself was too small. I colored it too small. It should be longer, like in the original. Then there was like this one spot I forgot to paint in gold, so it was really off, and that's why I decided like not to continue with fixing the colors and leave it as the mess it is, and make that as like its own little artistic decision. Even the butterflies were off a bit, actually quite a lot. That's what I said. It's like, you know what, this is his own artistic thing. I'm not going to perfect it. I am going to live in the mess.
First, he was getting booked at the police station. In the middle of processing him into the jail, the cops started asking him for autographs.
So far, no crash outs. Yay! So I really do think this computer can only handle so much programs open, and so I'm glad I shut them down, close them, opening one at a time. But as I was saying, for this particular illustration, the thing that made me happy with working with, I think the most, was one, that red was so bright. I want a bright red, but not that bright. I think due to bad choice of colors to bring contrast, especially for the red. The green wasn't so bad. It was just mostly the red. And I also like the green. It was very vibrant green. But I think the one that gave me the most joy was the gold, working with the gold. I definitely am going to do this illustration over again. I will record it, but I'm going to do it in in acrylic ink and water-based ink, because it's been so long since I used that. I feel like I lost my touch. Again, I'm not sure if it's a paper, so I'm definitely going to do it on a different paper and see how that comes out. Yeah. And what else I want to do? I want to work on other projects that will correlate with what I plan to do with the books that I'm writing and working on. One of them is called, actually, I don't have an official title yet, so I'm not. So this is the finished touch of the physical thing. I will have to go and do some more touches in the ink, and the coloring, especially around this area. And then I'm going to also do some outlining digitally, and I'm also going to include the flowers. So I'm going to scan this and finish it digitally. So I will also put the final illustration. I'm not going to show the digital drawing and coloring, but I will put the final piece somewhere on here. You'll see it. Maybe it's pop up here or not. I'm not sure. I haven't edited it yet, but this is it for now. With that said, thank you for watching and coming on this journey. It's been a long time. I'm excited to be back to make more art with you. And as I said, my journey from now on, I will also be including more art that includes things that I plan to do with. By the way, I haven't mentioned it, but I probably will mention it in the voiceover. But anyway, that's it for now. Till next time. Bye!